I did a pair of these for my daughter several years ago, and she really liked them, and she wore them until they completely disintegrated. And she's been wanting another pair, so I'm making her another pair, and I'm going to do kind of a tutorial on how I did it. Basically, you have a Sharpie, and you have a pair of jeans, and you just kind of go, go, go. I think the hardest part for me has always been starting, because I'm always afraid I'm going to like mess them up. So the best thing to do is to deliberately mess them up first. Do something like that, you know, just to go, okay, oops, now I got to make it look cool. So let's do that. And these stretchy jeans are a little bit difficult to work with because they wiggle around a lot. But you can do it. I tend to like hold as I'm drawing, hold here, and then when I go down here, hold here. It's a little easier that way. Plus it's easier to do a clean line if you're doing the point in this direction, because the point will make a clean line, but this part will make a kind of a blurry line. See how it's kind of like that? And then it'll kind of be blurry on the edge here. So if you want to make a nice clean line, I always use the point pointing outwards along the edge. Like so, if I wanted to do that edge, I would spin it around. And they look a little ratty at first, you know, just because it's just a bunch of scribbles. But I tend to just focus on a little area that I'm working on. And over time, it'll kind of blend together and start to look pretty cool. And, you know, do anything you want. You can add colors too. I've never actually done one with colors because I really like the black on a jean, particularly when it fades, because when they fade, it looks like the jean was always that way, like it was made with the pattern on it. Which actually kind of surprised me when I first did it. They looked so cool when they were black, but they actually kind of looked a little cooler when they started to fade. But you can also touch them up. You know, as my daughter was wearing hers, there were a couple areas that I touched up, like on the knees and stuff like that. Every now and then I'd touch them up a little bit. Like, see? Because I thought I could color this way, I blurred it. It's always a lot easier to point along the edge. Use the point along the edge, and then on that edge spin it around. And I've done this before and I should know that, but sometimes you take the easy way out. But again, anything you screw up can be fixed, because it doesn't have to be perfect, and anything can really look cool. And if I'm ever stuck, if I ever get to a point where I'm like, I don't really know what to do here, I'm not going to videotape this whole jean process, because they take a long time, and I like to do them, you know, like I'm chilling out watching a movie or something. But if I'm ever stuck on, what am I going to do over here? I'll start again over here. Like I'll look at the the way the pocket goes or something, and I'll do this is going to be difficult because it's so wavy. Like run something down here, and then swoop it down. So you can see how it blurs. That actually could be a cool effect if you wanted to explore that. I personally don't. I like the really clean lines. But anything could be worked with. That might actually be cool with colors, because you could kind of blend them. Let's run this up here like this. And see how it's all crooked? It's basically not round. But just take the point, round it out. You can see how it could take a long time. But I like doing stuff like this, so I don't really mind the amount of time. Plus I get to give my daughter a cool pair of jeans that only she has. I've actually had people ask me if they could buy these, but the amount of time I put into them, it's just not. I'd be more inclined to give them to people that I know than sell them. That's kind of why I'm trying to encourage people to do it themselves, because it's really not that hard. It's time consuming, but it's not really difficult. I mean, anybody could draw on pants with a Sharpie. And I've never done this with a Sharpie before. I use these PBO, I think they're called Setascribe or Setascribe markers, which are like a fabric dye. And those actually fade a little bit more than I was hoping. So I'm trying the Sharpies this time. So anyway, I better stop the video because I'm going to have some other stuff to videotape. In the future, I don't want to eat up the video. But you get the idea, and then just gradually perfect it as you go. Like right now, I'll probably spin this around and do the inside of this circle, maybe make a little ball on the end, and then some things that shoot off. And then when you want to do the leg, when you want to go around the outside of the leg, I take a rolled up towel, I stuff it in there so it puffs up, and then I just roll the leg as I go. And you can also stick a pillow in here. I have this little throw pillow that we keep on the couch that I stuff in here. I think I've done like 4 or 5 pairs of these so far. Anyway, that's a pretty good way to get you started, and I'll try to take videotapes of my progress as I go. Like when I put the towel in there, I can show how I go along the edge of the leg. Anyway, that's it for now. Alright, I've made quite a bit of progress on these, and I wanted to share some tips I picked up as I did this. These jeans are a little different than the ones I've used in the past because I've never done it with stretchy jeans before. And I've never done it with jeans that were this thin. And apparently, thin stretchy jeans and Sharpies bleed very easily. Like, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but this area it's kind of bled a little bit around the edges. These are also bleeding a little bit. But I found that if you take your Sharpie and you kind of draw vertically, as opposed to drawing like this, it kind of alleviates that. Kind of draw quickly and draw vertically. Also, if you're doing a lot of work on one particular space and you've filled it a lot and it starts to bleed, just stop doing that for a while and move on to some other area until that dries a little bit more. Another thing is these tips will get worn if you, over time, just because it's kind of a sandpapery type surface. So what I usually do is I'll try to fill with the grain of the fabric, up and down as opposed to across, because it won't get worn out as quickly. And also when they wear out, I'll just get a new Sharpie and I'll use that for all my lines, my quick drawing lines, like this one, and then get my worn out Sharpie to do the filling. This one's pretty worn out actually. And then use this to fill. I'll probably have to go over this twice. I'm doing it kind of quickly though, just to show in the video. Another trick is the towel. What I did is I took a towel that I wasn't too concerned about getting Sharpie on, and I stuffed it in the leg of my jeans. And by doing that, I'm trying not to stretch it too much because I might distort the design. But now I've got a nice smooth surface all the way around that I can continue drawing on as I go around. And the pockets, one more thing about the pockets, let's see. You can also fold this differently and use it to stuff this area, or use a pillow, a small pillow, to puff it up. But I've never done one with pockets before, and this one has, well, they've had pockets, but they were not raised above the surface. And I didn't really think about this when I got the jeans. My daughter liked them, so I just said, cool, go with those. But I figured I could use the pattern, as though this design is coming in and then kind of creating the pocket, and then from that the designs are created, and then as you go over to this one, kind of becomes its own little identity and raises above the surface. So that was my solution, but obviously you can do whatever you want to do. But the next pair of pants that I got has no back pockets, and you can find those on eBay. Just type in jeans, no back pockets, and a whole bunch of them will come up. Some of them are pretty cool too. Anyway, those are my tips, and I hope you enjoy making your pair of jeans. And if you make some, I'd like to see them. If you post a video, I'd love to see it. So have fun. Here's the first pair that I made. Kind of inspired the whole idea. I just saw these in a thrift store, and I like the way they were cut. They got really cool back pockets. I figured I could just draw over the whole surface. And the front pockets are pretty cool too. And all the jeans I did before the one I drew in the tutorial, I used this fabric dye marker, which it fades a little quicker than the Sharpies do, but you can get a really nice art because it has a brush tip and they don't bleed as much. But again, they do fade a lot quicker than the Sharpies. I love this leg right here. That's probably my favorite portion of the whole pair of jeans. So that's the kind of stuff that you can do. This is the new pair I got. I haven't done these yet, but I really like these jeans because they have no pockets, but they have these kind of stylish plackets, I guess, or I don't know what you call those, patches on the back and the legs. I think I'm going to take these, I'm going to make it like swirly all over the legs, and then do something on the back piece and the lower leg pieces. It's kind of angular. Maybe make it look like they're boots or something, like some sort of, like these will all be random swirls, and these will be symmetrical, angular designs. Should be pretty cool.